What's up, my loves and fellow creatives? I would like to know a couple of things. So first of all, this was a very daunting project, so I'm gonna let a few of you come in, but for those of you who are here right now, welcome, welcome, welcome. And thank you for joining me, because this was quite a feat, and you all will see. I'm going to try something right now, because this is the first time I'm debuting this content. Instead of me editing this whole video and then figuring out that we're going to have questions later on, what I'm going to do is you all are watching this live with me, so that whatever questions you have, I'm going to make sure that whether I do a re-record or whether I just include that information in the video as I go, as details, we're going to make sure that basically I answer questions as I make the video, because this is, I think it's going to be a very resourceful video for a lot of you, and your questions really do help other people as well as it helps me. Okay, so right now I see y'all. Can y'all hear me okay? And y'all gonna have to excuse me for a second. I'm gonna open up this, and finto is a real word right now because that's how hungry I am. I'm finto open up one of these cereal bars and eat something, because I have not stopped all day, y'all. That's how much I care about you. Okay. So yes, you can hear me. Okay, great. Perfect. It's a little bit of a delay. So this is what I'm going to try, and I need y'all to tell me whether this works too. The video has not been edited yet, so I am literally going to play the video from the computer for you all, and then that way I can edit the video later with the comments and questions that you have. So I'm literally here watching it live with you and able to talk through things. So whenever you have a question, I'll probably pause the video and then respond to those questions, okay? So let me know how this sounds, because if the sound is really horrible, then I have to figure out another way to do this, okay? So I'm going to play the video right now. I want you to tell me whether you can hear the video playing. In 3, 2, 1, I'm going to be quiet. So if you hear something talking, it's the video. So then let me know, yes, the video sound is working. What's up, my loves and fellow creatives? I'm here finally doing this experiment for you all. We're going to set up the Epson Eco Tank 16650 and also set up the Epson 15000. And what we'll do is do a video to compare the 16650, the Epson 70. Okay, so that was me talking in the video. Can someone confirm if you heard the sound from the video and whether it was sufficient to watch? Video sounds working? Perfect. I appreciate you all. So if you need to ask questions, what I would appreciate is to ask the questions in the chat, so then hopefully I can answer them live, and then I'm going to write these questions down, because more than likely other people will have these questions, and then I can insert them into the actual video. Like, this happened to be a pretty good experiment. So if I need to speed it up or anything like that, let me know. Y'all know y'all say I talk a little fast anyway. So okay, so how was it a bad echo to the? Okay, it's sufficient. It was a little muffled. Okay, so basically, if it's good enough for y'all to listen to and ask questions, then I'm here. If not, then I'll have to upload it at another time, because it's literally a whole session. Okay, so I'm going to play it. For those of you who are okay with the sound, stick around with me, because you can help me come up with questions, and I can answer your concerns and issues that you may have. And if not, it's okay. I'll re-upload this at a later time. It will be the actual video that I'll upload, and then that way you don't have to deal with the lower quality if you don't want to stick around for that. Okay. All right. So let me make sure I have my volume up. It is up. And 17, 77, 20, whichever model that you have. And then we'll also test it against the 15,000. So this first video, we're just going to set up each printer, go through the process, and then there will be a separate video on comparing the printers. Alright, so without further ado, let's get it. I'll move these super long USB cables that I get. These are the printer cables I get because depending on where I have my computer station set up, you're going to need to purchase those printer cables separately. Don't ask me why printers these days do not come with printer cables, but this is what you need. It's USB on one end, and then it has the printer cable on the other end. Alright, so I'm not even going to look at instructions. I'm just going to go with it. I do want to tell you that instead of setting up the traditional Epson ink that comes with it, I'm not using this as a traditional printer. I'm going to be setting these up as sublimation printers. So if any of you are here and wondering what sublimation is, it's a dye process for substrates that pretty much have a polyester coating or a polyester base. It's used a lot in apparel, but you can do other substrates such as license plates, picture frames, and all kind of neat stuff. If you're into sublimation, you'll find more content on the channel based on that whole concept, even how to design. I do a lot of Photoshop teaching for that type of design, but I just want to show you the bottles that come with it, and then the bottles that you would purchase for True Colors. That's the sublimation ink that I am promoting. And in this case, I want you to just see that the bottles are smaller for the colors versus the black. I decided to go ahead and do 127 milliliters for these bottles so that you end up with more ink than you traditionally would for the 100 milliliter bottles. But these are, and just to show you, I'm going to open up the black. The one that comes with the Epson, and we have the one that is already, I think I already broke the seal. If I didn't, I will show you how. And as a matter of fact, let's go ahead and just open this top and see. The Epson bottle. I guess it's got a little decent seal on there because it's already open and wet, meaning that you don't have to take off any type of seal or anything. However, this one does come with a seal you will have to remove. And let's just compare them side by side. Why not? Before we even get started. And we'll see that there is a little kind of an X or star cut out inside of there that allows the ink to flow through from the bottle into the reservoir for the ink. And we're just going to follow, we're going to turn the printer on, we're going to follow the instructions for how to set it up. That's typically what I do. I don't like to read a bunch of papers or watch a bunch of videos to figure it out, so hopefully I do this right for you all. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and set these inks off to the side. I won't be using them, but I did want to at least reference those for you. Some of you will be setting up the printer with the traditional ink that comes with it. Now this is Pigment Ink. This is Pigment Ink specifically for printing on paper, printing on the opaque transfers, things of that nature, photo paper, that sort of thing. Sublimation ink is going to allow us to sublimate. So I'm going to go ahead and move these out of the way as well. We'll pull them in when we need them. Alright, so let's get started. First thing you want to do is remove all of this tape. So everywhere that I see tape, I'm going to pull. Unless I can't get to it, then I'm going to figure out how to get to it. Alright, so I'm going to kind of scoot through this a little bit, and you'll get to see this later, okay? Right now, I'm just pushing through it because it's a little more informative of how to just set it up, and y'all will be able to watch this later. But what I want to do for today is I want you all to see the comparison process and pretty much the basic setup, like how the inks go in and so forth. Because normally you're going to be buying one of these machines, you're going to set it up one time, and tonight's not the night for that, for the setup process. But I just showed you how I set it up. I didn't follow the instructions. I didn't even look at the instructions. So I did go ahead and do it right on the first one. The second one, I set up to 15,000. I had a little issue, and you'll see that. But I'm just removing tape here. I think that's it. Let me see if I'm going to put the ink in on this one. I think I'm powering it on. So here it is. Here we go. So I can kind of move them around and do what I need to. But I think this one is good. Moment of truth. Let's turn it on. I already have them plugged in, and I have the data cable plugged in because I will show you when I do my comparison. I'm going to show you each of the printers and how they print in comparison. So let's see, let's do English. We're setting it up. It's going to get to a point. Here it is. And then touch OK. So I'm going to open, it says open the scanner unit. That's the scanner unit. But I believe it's talking about the full top. And I'm going to just search in here to make sure I don't see any tape. That might just be a warning to get you to open it, because most people don't know that you can open these, especially if it's your first time doing an all-in-one. But I do not see any tape. Ouch, I hope y'all can see that because I just bumped the camera on my head. Alright, so it is what it is. Say okay. And also with me having this open, it will tell me to close it if it can't get through the next step without having this closed. And more than likely it's going to tell me to close it just because it's dangerous to have moving parts while you have it open. See the start here bundled with the printer or on the website to complete the initialization. Okay. Now it says when filling the ink, make sure not to squeeze the ink bottle. Ink makes splash. Also, make sure to match the color of the ink bottle to the ink tank. I'm going to say okay. Now it says make sure the transportation lock is in the print position and each ink tank is filled with ink. Press OK for at least 5 seconds. So I'm not going to read any instructions. I'm just going to go with it. So there's this little door that covers the ink reservoirs. And as a matter of fact, I don't think I was supposed to open that. Yeah, I probably shouldn't have. Oh, that's what it is. When I close the ink reservoir, that's what happened. So it doesn't tell me I have to close this, but I'm kind of afraid that if I do, it'll start something up. So let's see. We have black, magenta, yellow, and cyan. And in order not to fill the wrong thing, what I'm going to do is just make sure that I do one at a time. So let's see if it'll allow me to put this on without having to remove the other caps. Maybe I should have read the instructions, especially since I'm doing a tutorial, but at least this would show you that you can or cannot do this without the proper instructions. Now I'm going to go put on some gloves because although I like to freeball it and not necessarily use gloves for the majority of the time, just for the purpose of this video, I want to teach you how to do it properly. I deal with ink a lot without gloves because I don't have little cute nails that I care about. Like, I just let it flow. However, like when I'm doing trade shows and things of that nature, I do like to have gloves because the last thing you want to do is be in a position where you have ink on your hands and you're dealing with white sublimation shirts. Okay, so let's do it. Now I am going to be removing the seal from my bottle first, and there is an additional seal. As a matter of fact, I probably need to put that tray back in. Hello. Okay. And there's an additional seal. Now I'm being real bold putting this ink on top of this printer right now. I would suggest that you know, of course, have a work surface, but I'm doing what I gotta do to record this video. I'm gonna go ahead and remove that as well. There we go. And we'll go with putting that back on. So now that this is clear to come through, we're going to make it do what it do. Alright, so I'm trying to pay attention here. I can see that there is a vertical locking mechanism here. I don't know if it matters which way it goes, so we shall see. Now I will say that that didn't just
just, you know, it went in smoothly, but it did have a little ink splash that came out, like as soon as it punctured. So you may want to have some paper towels present. I always have some paper towels present when it comes to dealing with ink. So I'm just going to clean up those couple of little splashes. And you can hear it just filling up. And let me see if I can see it filling up here. Oh yeah, I don't know if you all can see this because I'm working on this head cam that I don't know whether it's recording at the appropriate angle. But I'm down here on my knees just to show you that that black is filling up. Now this is going to be particularly important for the colors because I give you more than, this only takes 70 milliliters. So the traditional bottles are 70 milliliters, mine are 127, so you will have to make sure that you don't overfill your colors. And I don't know if it has a mechanism that will keep you from doing that, but we'll figure that out in just a moment. And this bottle is almost empty, so it didn't take much time at all to do this. I heard it stop, so even though it says that's the full mark, it stops at this third mark here for the 127 milliliters. So you'll probably want to do the same thing with the magenta, cyan, and the yellow.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and forward it through. I will, like I said, I'll have this full footage for those who want to watch it all the way through. But pretty much this was the same process for the magenta, yellow, and the cyan. And as a matter of fact, I tested it at the end to make sure there was no possible way it could overfill, and it stopped. So don't worry about that. I give you bottles that are much bigger for the colors than the reservoir so that you have some excess ink. And trust me, it'll come in handy. As a matter of fact, my system took down quite a lot of ink, and I could probably use the rest of the ink to top it off. So even Epson will tell you, hey, if it's too much ink in the bottle, hold on to the ink bottles because you can use it later. Alright, so I went through that for all of the colors there. I think yellow, was yellow the last one? No, yellow was the next to last. And then you want to clean up, if it does take any little ink and spill down there, you want to clean that up. And I showed that with my little swabs there. Clean that up because you don't want dried up ink anywhere near, even though those are not the print heads, you just don't want dried up ink there. Right, so if y'all have any questions, now is a good time to ask because I'm just, you know, kind of pushing through some of the content there.
Pay attention to this.
And I'll pause for you all. So if it's something that you want to see, if you say, hey, can you pause that? Can I see that? Let me know. I'm trying to pay attention to the chat here. And it's on live chat. So if it's something you want to see, I will pause it. I'll answer any questions. And it'll be just like you're doing it yourself. Okay? That's the whole point of this. And y'all forgive me. I got this GoPro so that I can record things like first person for you all. So it looks like you're actually doing the work. But I can hear everything, including every nose breath that I take. So I'm sorry, y'all.
I'm sure it's going to have some type of an initialization process after this, but in the meantime.
Alright, so we're going to go on to the next video. And my GoPro broke up my little video, so sorry about that, but we're just going to handle it as we need to. This is the next one.
Transportation lock is in the print position and each ink tank is filled with ink. Press OK for at least 5 seconds. So I'm not going to.
Yeah, we did this one already.
So once I and see, I have a little bit of that yellow.
So let's go ahead and get through that. GoPro is funny. I really thought it I thought it destroyed all of my video that I did for today. I was so distraught, but then I realized it just broke it up into little videos that overlapped. So I think this is where we were, where it was initializing, just showing y'all that process.
Now that was 127 milliliters. That's as high as the black went. I did happen to fill the yellow and cyan a little higher just because I wasn't paying as much attention, but it is not past the maximum point. So what I may have to do is I may have to offer you all the smaller ink tank so that you don't overfill your systems. But then it kind of doesn't matter, because when it's time to refill your systems, you'll probably more than likely overfill them on refill anyhow. We'll see.
Alright, so that's initialization, and it took about 9 minutes. It said it was going to take about 9 minutes, and it pretty much took 9 minutes to initialize it. So in the meantime, I started setting up the 15,000. Same thing, taking off all the tape. And if you really want to see all the places where I had to remove tape, that will be in the full video. I just didn't want to put y'all through that tonight. It's late already. So yeah, removed all the tape. Same deal. And I think I mentioned a little bit of a difference in this.
And then I want to show you the inks that came with this system.
And I'll just show you real quick. See how that ink is more translucent? It's not like it's not opaque and kind of thick like that the yellow from the other set. I was just making an observation that that's probably dye versus pigment ink, and that's just my opinion. I haven't tested it nor proven that, so I was just going through why that might be a little bit different. Hence, here's the thing too. So people will tell you that all sublimation inks works for all Epson printers, and this is what I want to tell you, and I want to make a disclaimer. There's still a science to it, to the way that the colors work. So this particular system came with different types of inks. I believe they're dye inks. It might have a pigment ink for the black, but the color inks definitely look like dye inks. So if that formulation is what the Epson color profile assumes that it's using when it's making CMYK, why would it print exactly like the 16650, which assumed that it had all pigment inks? Okay, it even tells you not to put dye ink in that system. It tells you it could ruin your print heads, etc. So there's going to be some difference. You use the same exact ink, it's going to be some difference between the printers that you use. So don't expect one ink to perform the exact same in every single Epson printer. It's just not feasible. So that is something that I do explore when I do the comparison. I just wanted you all to see that. And if you have any questions, like I said, ask me, and if it's something that I know, I will definitely stop and answer. All right, let's keep going. Let me tell you what I did wrong. And I'm gonna have to explain this on the video. I didn't do the instructions. Now the instructions said to actually fill these on the 15,000. It said to fill it up before you even plug it in or turn on the machine. And guess what I did? Plugged it in and turned on the machine before I did anything else. So basically, once I got to the computer, that's when I had to figure out, oh, okay, Epson had a fail safe for if anyone was like me and decided that they weren't going to follow instructions and put the ink in first with the printer already on, then it did have a way to initialize it from the software. Okay, so all I had to do was download the driver, and it gave me that next step. All right, so I think I'm talking about 7710 here. So let me play that real quick. It might have some pertinent information.
Another thing that is important that I've realized, like with the 7710s, while I'm waiting on this other one to set up, is sometimes I have to, I don't know if you can see it here, I have to set up like cardboard or something to make sure that my printers are level. Okay, I have two heavy printers on one table, so it's kind of sinking in the middle. Even when I go out to the trade shows and I'm out on the ground is uneven, so a lot of times I have to bring a little level, and I don't have it here with me. I usually keep it in my little handy dandy kit, but I put a little level on top of the printer, make sure that I have a good level surface. That's even if I have to raise the table up, raise the printer up, whatever I have to do. I've been in some weird situation in some weird hills and had to make it work. Alright, so it says see the start here guide bundled with the printer or on the website to complete initialization. You think we're going to do that? Nah. So what I'm going to do is just go to the next step. Alright, so first thing I think I want, now this one has the same situation here when it comes to this tab here, and I think this tab to stop it from moving. in the printing process, but I don't know which direction it should be in.
So yes, that's what it was for. That tab was so that if you are moving the printer around, or if you are, let's say you're shipping or just transporting it from one location to the next, you're gonna flip that little switch and it locks the print head so that it doesn't move around during that moving process. So yeah, eventually I figured that out. And then eventually I also figured out that I had messed up when I filled up these cartridges before I should have filled up the cartridges first, but I should not have turned on the device first, okay? So then that way, when it turned on, it would ask me about initializing the inks, okay? So, but just so you know, if you happen to do it like me, you know, there was a fail safe, and I think I do go through that. But yeah, I just filled up all those inks, and then I realized at the end of it, hey, it's not initializing. What's up? Where are those instructions that I should have read? And we go through that whole process, filling up each one. But what I did do is I tested at the end. Let me show you how I tested it at the end to make sure that it won't overfill. And I thought that was a good fail safe.
But I'm gonna go ahead and pull it off. It stopped. Yay!
Okay, yeah.
Things will stop at a certain point when it's filled, and it stopped. I don't hear it draining anymore. Now I'm not just gonna sit there and leave it there for an hour, but I'm gonna go ahead and pull it off. It stopped. Yay! Y'all just don't know how happy it makes me when my hypotheses are confirmed. Alright. Clean that off. Have a little trash to get rid of. Do that off camera. Alright, so let's close down this last color.
And that was just me showing y'all that it did automatically stop. There was plenty more ink in that bottle. It automatically stopped. I thought that was a really good feature. So Nola says, if I forget to mention this, Nola says that if anyone has the EcoTank 16500, which was the model before this one, I think it has the tanks on the side of the unit. It does not automatically stop. You have to watch it and stop it yourself. So I appreciate that information because that will definitely help someone, and I can definitely put that in the video, and then, you know, or in the formal video. All right, so this is me struggling through initialization, and eventually I figure out, hey, it's not going to initialize till I download the software. And this is me figuring out that the trays, neither of the trays, the 15,000 nor the 16,650 trays, the actual, and I don't want to call them trays because they call the tray the thing in the back. So this is the cassette, okay? So neither of the cassettes allow you to go up to 13 by 19, which was a little disappointing because I like to keep my paper protected in those drawers, and if I could only do a rear feed, it was a little turn off for me because that means my paper is exposed. It's out there in the raw elements, okay? And we all know that sublimation papers, depending on, you know, where you are, especially if you're in a humid environment, can absorb that humidity, and they get damp and they get really limp, and you don't want to be sending that type of paper through your printer. Okay, so that was just me discovering that, hey, it's basically only going to do 11 by 17 is a max size that it's going to do in the paper tray for the 16650, or in the cassette for the 16650. Now the 15,000 is only going to do 8.5 by 14 as the largest that it's going to do in that cassette. Everything else has to run through the bypass tray in the back of the printer. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next video. Now's a good time to ask questions if y'all have any questions.
Here. Now, typically, if I do have two trays, which this...
Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and go through this one. So yeah, this was me, like I said, figuring out that tray was not going to be my friend. I even had some just regular hammer mill 13 by 19 paper, and I immediately found out. I eyeballed it and figured it wasn't going to go in there 11 by 17, and I didn't see. A3 is 11 by 17. A3 plus is Super B, which is 13 by 19. So when I didn't see A3 plus and I didn't see 13 by 19, I kind of already had that indication that it wasn't going to receive 13 by 19 paper. So I gave up on that dream. And we're off to the next video. So let's see, what is this one? I think that's the next one.
Alright, my loves, I am back and we're gonna finish up where we left off. I went ahead and installed 8.5 by 11 inch paper in these trays, so we can do a little test here. So there's 8.5 by 11 here. I even put some 8.5 by 11 in my 7710, and this one felt a little less, well, a lot less industrious and durable, just because it's a very lightweight tray, and I'm supposing it also probably has less of a capacity, which shouldn't be a problem if you're not printing a whole heap of papers at one time, which typically in sublimation we're not. So I just wanted to give you that outlook though, because it doesn't feel very sturdy, and that is a concern of mine. So I have my little laptop here on wheels, and we're going to be testing the print setup for each of these printers that you see here. But I did want to tell you that while I was filling this up, I realized I was not supposed to turn this on. I actually went back and looked at the directions.
Yeah, that's me just admitting I was wrong. We're gonna skip right on through that. And it's initializing. Well, I think it initialized, and while it was initializing, I was going ahead and pulling out the tray for the 16650. So I'm going through different printers on this video. So the 16650, you see it has that expansion back there. That's what it looks like. And I'm probably still waiting on this one to initialize. Oh yeah, and it suggested that I do an alignment check. I probably would not have done it if it didn't tell me it was recommended. I always do the nozzle check before I start a process, but I almost never do the alignment check. So it duped me. It made me do that. It took up a little bit of time. So I'm going to kind of blaze through that because, yeah, that's probably the majority of me playing with that. Oh yeah, this is me plugging in. Now, what I say here is relevant because I do care about the data transfer rate, so I don't use Wi-Fi for the most part.
But right now, I kind of want to see exactly where it's coming from. So instead of hiding where it's coming from, I'm going to reveal it all. So let's go ahead and remove that.
I'm talking about why I have all these cords all over the place.
And these little things come in handy here. They are USB extensions, and I think I'm going to go in order of, let me see what I can take out right now. This is my cooling dock for my laptop, which is not even on right now, so I'm tripping. I tend to keep a cooling dock on. That's my cooling dock. That actually goes to my external monitor, so I don't need it right now. And I'm going to place my cooling dock at the very back, so I can put my printers in order. As a matter of fact, I'm going to take the cooling dock out, and we're going to just plug in the printers. So I have printer number 2 in number 2 position. That's going to be the Epson 16650, and then I have the Epson 7710. See, these cords are about to get crazy, but that's the reason why I want to have them in order. So if anything happens during this test, I know what I'm working with. Alright, so that's 2. And then number 3, I guess this is dropped down.
And that's just me plugging in those cords.
$16,650. Now what it's doing is probably just setting up the printer drivers. More than likely, if you want all the extra stuff that Epson comes with, like the scanners and all that good stuff, you may have to, you more than likely will have to install the drivers. But even with the printers, if you want the printer settings correct. So I'm going to test that theory right now, whether we have to install the drivers.
And the next video is literally
what we're going to test.
taking you through that process of downloading the driver. So I'm just going to show you what I did. I'm not going to go through it exactly. So let's see, last video we watched was 123. So I think we should be on 223 now, if I'm not mistaken.
These CMY.
Alright, so I went through the whole process of how you find the drivers. I get that question so much too, like, where do I find the drivers? Where do I go online? So I went through that process, showed you how to get the drivers from online because it comes with this CD. And lo and behold, most of us don't even have CD drives anymore. So even desktops stopped coming with CD drives for the most part. So I'll take you through that entire process of downloading the proper driver, installing it, letting it recognize the printer, all of that good stuff, which I'm not going to have you sit through tonight. And then I realized my issue with initializing the printer, or Epson realized my issue with following directions, and that worked out just fine. So we get to the point of the process where I took my CMYK purge file and I just duplicated it 5 times because I wanted to also test the speed of the 44-inch printer. So here we are. So I think I can pretty much skip
printer. However, it's been converted to sublimation. And let me show you here. These are the cartridges. You refill them with sublimation ink, so they're ready to go. And the only reason why I know this already, I've never touched this printer before, but it's very much similar to the...
Alright, so this next part, I just went through a nozzle check, and then I went ahead and I did printhead cleanings until the nozzle checks were clear enough for me. And this is me showing you those nozzle checks. So like I said, I'm going to put this full-length video for those who really want to see step by step, who like really honestly want to see everything and might be a little afraid that they might mess something up setting up these printers. I promise you I will have all that information for you. But for tonight, I think I'm going to skip on through this part. But if you have questions, definitely ask those questions because I can answer them. But yeah, you all know how to do those printhead cleanings. You know how to do your nozzle checks. So this is just me doing them for all 4 printers before I began this test. So I'm letting you know my scientific methods. Okay, I went ahead and did the printhead cleaning and test. I even recorded myself with the printer settings. So that.
But we can see that everything looks good. There is a tiny break right there in the cyan. So obviously this one doesn't automatically pop.
And I'm going to come on and push through. So yeah, I had to clean the printhead of even the large printer because all of my printers had set up for a week without being used because I've been in development for a whole nother project right now. So I neglected my printers. And it wasn't but maybe 1 or 2 printhead cleanings that it required for it to get on track. So my printers forgave me and they got on the good foot. Alright, so let me see if any of this... Oh, this is where the printer tricked me into doing the printhead alignment. Okay, so yeah, I had to go through all of that. I think I'll include that in the video, the full format video, so you know what it's asking when it does ask you to do the alignment. It's just a series of prints, and then you choose the best option from that print, and you can see from there. It wasn't that fun.
It is on. Ink charging is complete, and I guess it would have given me the same directions if I had not set up the printer properly, but it did initialize on the...
Now that's me just figuring out that on video live, pretty much my behind was able to be saved. I would have felt really crunchy, and I don't know if anybody even uses the word crunchy anymore. But that's what I would have felt. I would have felt crunchy if me not following directions ruined that $600 printer plus tax. Alright, so I also take you through. Now, I'm not going to put this in this video, but I take you through my exact settings of, and here, I'll show you at least one of them. Okay, so that's setting up the 15,000. I show you my Epson settings for the print on each of these.
Now, this is the reason why I do this one as the default. My 13 by 19, I always want that to be what I print because that is always what I'm printing. I'm very rarely printing 8.5 by 11. Okay, so once you have it set as your default here, every time you open it up in any program to print, but I'm going to suggest that you only print from Photoshop, it will have this 13 by 19 set up for you. Okay, so let's go ahead and hit OK to that. Let's go back and we're going to do the same thing to set up our 16650. Let's go to Manage, Printing Preferences, and this is going to be a review. So we're going to do paper source will be, for this one I'll choose cassette 1 for the 8.5 by 11. And the quality, again, see this one.
And I did record this part on my actual screen as well, so I'll probably replace this footage with the footage from the screen because it is very hard to see from the GoPro. I wasn't sure it was going to record where you can read it or where it's legible. But I just wanted you to see the process of how I set up the printer before I even print, okay? I always set up my default print preferences for each printer before I even print from Photoshop. This way my default is at least the least of my worries when I go to print. Okay, so I usually print 13 by 19, which is why I set this up default 13 by 19, but this this preset the color settings because it told it no ICC profile. This set the paper size and even where the paper was going to come from. So I had to tell it with this preset that my 13 by 19 paper is not going to come from the cassette. My 13 by 19 paper is going to come from the rear feed, okay, the rear feed tray. So I had to tell that that to the system for the 15000 and for the 16650. And that's just something that once you have it set up, you have it as your default, it will automatically know what you're going to use as your primary source of paper, and also the dimensions of the paper and the quality settings, okay, and also whether you're going to mirror image it. So I have my default set to mirror image so that I never have to check to make sure it's mirror imaged in Photoshop. Okay, so stopping here to check out questions. Doug says, did the sub cartridges come with the 7270? Absolutely not. And there'll be a whole video that I do on setting that up. I actually have the cartridges, I have the Pro Ink, and you can also, I did this experiment with the standard ink that's really for the mid format printers. So I've been running the mid format printer ink on this Epson just to kind of get a feel for whether it can be used in the system, and it can. It actually, the printhead can receive it either way, but I have a pro level ink that I'm going to test how accurate the colors are with the pro level ink versus the standard ink, and I'll let you know. But either way, they both come in 1,000 milliliter bottles, and I think I show that at the end of the video. So that's a great question. So yes, the cartridges are, you don't want to do what I did. You don't want to put the standard ink in, because I put the standard ink in just to make sure that my printer was working. You just want to go ahead and go in with the sublimation ink, because by the time it purges that standard ink out of the system, it takes quite a while to start getting into the sublimation ink. I just happen to have a few posters that I wanted to print. Like I printed my family reunion poster. You see that over there on the wall behind the ironing board. I printed the poster of my dad and some other posters for just various products and projects. So I used the ink that came with the Epson to get some of those projects out the way, and then I put in my sublimation ink. I don't recommend that. I recommend you already have your empty cartridges ready for the 7270, and that you fill them and prime them, remove the air from them, and I'll do a video on how to do that this week too. So you're gonna fill and prime them, and then install them, just especially if you have a new printer, install them just as if they were new cartridges. So great question. All right, I'm going to move on.
It gives us an option to go up to high, and it's probably because of the paper type.
Okay, so here's the thing. When I was setting up the 15,000 versus the 16,650, I ran into an issue, the same issue that I ran into with my large format printer is that when you tell it that it's plain paper, the highest quality setting you can do is high. If you're using the 7710 or the 15000, there's an extra push that you can make it go to maximum quality. It's higher than high quality. Maximum quality is only visible when you go to the other settings for quality, and I take you through all that in this part of the video. Y'all, if y'all have questions and y'all really want to see that part, I will definitely show it to you. But this is basically me setting up the default printer preferences for each of these 4 printers. Okay, so you have it for the 15000. Now I'm doing it for the 16650. I even do it for the 7710 for you. Okay, and I think I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next video.
By 11.
Alright, so that's me doing it for, I think, the 7710. So now I'm finally getting into, let me see. Yep, I think I'm finally getting into printing. So let me back it up.
And what I'm going to do is start the timer. If I find a timer, I'm going to start the timer from when I actually send this print job, okay?
So I've gotten past the print preferences, which I do want you to understand what my printing preferences are for the ink. It's very, very important that if you want the same results that I have, that you do the same steps as far as the printing preferences, but that will be detailed for you as well. Like I said, y'all aren't setting up printers right now. We're just getting the idea of how the systems compare. So I don't want to bore you with that at this very moment. But when you're ready for that information, the full video will walk you through step by step exactly what to choose to make sure that you get the same results that I got in this video.
So I'm going to tell it to print 5 copies. Because my large format printer can print 5 copies in a single strip. So let's choose the printer we want to go with first, which is the Epson 7710. Let me see which one I have connected right now. I have so many of these connected. I'm going to say it's probably this one. Let's see, 7710. I'm guessing
I'm just going to push on through there. So I'll show you how I set up my 7710. That's probably going to be the most helpful for you all. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to play this part.
printers and scan.
So pretty much the same way that I set up the 7710 is the way that I set up the EcoTank 15000, which Monet, your question is saying that you got the EcoTank 47000. It's pretty much going to be setting up the same features. You may have some different features, so more than likely the 15000 is going to be the path that you're going to do to set up your printer. But this should be almost exact. I think the only difference is that you're going to have the option to change the paper tray where the source of your paper is coming from.
Let's find our 7710. Go to Manage. We're going to go to Printer Preferences, not Properties. And as you can see, I already have a 13 by 19 here and even a 13 by 36. So we're going to go ahead and figure out how to do this all over again. So for the 8.5 by 11, I'm going to set this up exactly the same. Paper cassette, 8.5 by 11. And we're going to do, instead of standard quality, I'm going to come up here to more settings and go to the highest quality there. We'll go to more options. I'd like to turn high speed off, turn mirror image on, and we're going to go to our custom color correction. Go to advanced, no color adjustment, okay. And we're going to go ahead and save this. So we're going to add a preset. This is going to be 8.5 by 11, true, innate, sub. And now that we have that one saved, which I didn't save it because I guess I hit close instead of save here, so that's a good lesson. 8.5 by 11. True, Innate, Sub. Let's hit save this time, and it did save it. I'm going to hit close because we saved it, and now I'm going to do a 13 by 19 version of it. Now, because this tray does take 13 by 19 in the cassette, I'm definitely going to make sure that we keep it as a cassette. The only time I tell it I'm going to rear feed it is if I'm doing roll media, which I'll teach you how to set that up on a whole nother video, how to do your roll media. Alright, so paper cassette, Super B, plain paper. More settings means that we have that highest setting there. Let's double check though. Yep, highest quality. And let's go to more options. Mirror image is on, high speed is off, color correction is off. Let's go ahead and make sure we save that one. And all I'm going to do is take off the number here and make it say 13 by 19. Save this time instead of hitting close. And as long as I have this one selected, before I hit OK, it's going to save this as my default setup. Okay, now that might not be true right now because
okay, so let's see. Lachelle asks, is the printing preference for the Epson 7710 only for Photoshop, or can it be done for any type of program? That's an excellent question. What I was just setting up are the printing preferences for that printer no matter what I print from. Now the problem is I only print from Photoshop because Photoshop has color management features. If you go and use those same exact settings to go print from Paint or Affinity or anything else that doesn't do its own color management, then you're going to be in some trouble because you just told the printer not to figure out the colors, and you don't know if that program has the ability to figure out the colors. 9 times out of 10 it does not. So I want you all to keep that in mind, that the way that I'm telling you to set this up, if you don't even mess with Photoshop at all other than to print your work, I would suggest it's worth that $10 a month just to be a standard for color and printing and having that standardization between print to print. Okay, so if you only open Photoshop to print from, I would highly recommend that you have Photoshop at least for that very purpose, because when I tell you that there's a huge difference between printing from Photoshop and printing from another program, that's just my story and I'm sticking to it. Maybe I'll do another video to show you how when you print from Affinity versus Photoshop versus Paint, or some people just print straight off of their Windows and they do like they'll right click on the file, hit print, and it prints through the Windows photo program. It doesn't give you the option to really have genuine color management. Okay, so you're going to be dealing with that issue, and I'm just telling you to avoid all that, print from Photoshop, but maybe that'll be worth it, a video in the future. Take one printer and just print from these different softwares and see how the color management really functions with that. So yes, these settings that you're setting are going to be for the 7710 innately. So now you have at the baseline set these settings up. However, when you go to print from another program, you might have trouble with the color management of that program. Does that make sense? Okay, and Monet, I can't move it up to see up close, but I did record this as an actual screen record. So I'm going to replace this part of the video with the screen record so you can see the exact settings for what I selected, and you'll see it just as clear as if you were looking at my monitor yourself. Okay, but that's a great question. Yeah, so printing from Silhouette, I don't have Silhouette. I'm sure I can download it just to see how it prints from Silhouette versus how it prints from Photoshop. That would be a video worth doing. So you guys put that in the Innate Creatives group, like a suggestion of, you know, do a video comparing printing from different programs. And then that way people can chime in and tell me, oh, well, I have this program, I have that program. And I will download all of those programs that I can without having to pay for them. I have Affinity, I have Photoshop. I have Paint. Some people print straight from Paint. I have the Windows Photo Viewer, so I can print from the Windows Photo Viewer. And then any other programs like Silhouette or Cricut Design or whatever y'all use that you want me to try to print from, I'll do that. And that would be a good video. But I need you all to tell me how interested you are in that content. Okay. Oh, Monet, great question. Even printing from your phone. Yes, I print from my phone. When I did setups like at the flea market, I would print from my phone. I would have some of my my apprentices print from their phone. It's not color accurate. But if you're not looking for accuracy, you're looking for something that's quick, easy. I even have iPads that I set up just because I can do affinity on the iPads and print. It's the color consistency is not there. But if you're not trying to match sneakers and match team colors and all this other stuff, you're just trying to get nice, bold, vibrant colors, you're not worried about the color consistency, then you're good to print from your phone or your device. But if you are really trying to maintain consistency, for instance, if I print this shirt at the flea market one time for this school, and this school, this kid wears this shirt to school, and then they come back and say, hey, all of my teammates want this shirt now. Well, guess what? If I don't know if I print it from my phone, if I print it from Photoshop, if I print it from the Silhouette program, and my colors could be different when I do those replicated versions of that shirt. So I like to tell you to keep things simple. Keep it simple, sublimators, okay? Get Photoshop if you do nothing else but print from it. I know that sounds harsh, but it's $10 a month basically to help you manage your color correction, okay? Now, Photoshop from the iPhone, I don't know if it has these color properties, but we're about to see in just a moment. I'm going to walk you through what the settings are for the actual Photoshop.
I may not have changed this in time for Photoshop to recognize it for this setup. So what I'm going to do is choose a different printer, then go back to my 7710 and see if indeed it changed the proper print settings. So here we go. Yep, it has paper cassette, 13 by 19, plain paper, more settings, go to more options, mirror image is selected, and our custom color profile. So it did it. We're ready to go. Now, it's defaulting to 13 by 19, but we're doing this test on 8.5 by 11. So when I go to print settings, I'm going to make sure I choose that 8.5 by 11 setting. All right, and as you can see, it's fitting on there. I'm going to tell it that Photoshop manages the colors. Alright, I do not want the printer to manage the colors. And then the printer profile is Epson Inkjet Printer 07. I'm going to keep these same parameters for every printer. Now later on down the line, when I do a little bit of tinkering myself, I'll let you know if there are better settings that work best for each of these printers. But for right now, we're going to keep it consistent.
Okay, so I'm going to reiterate what I just explained there. So yes, we set up the printer to have the same settings every single time we use it, okay? So by default, innately, that printer is going to print mirror image, that printer is going to have no color profile, and that printer is going to assume that it's printing 13 by 19 as its default paper, and then whatever the source of that paper is, whether it's the rear tray or the cassette, is going to assume that the paper is coming from that source. That's what we set up when we set up the printing preferences. Now, the part that I just discussed was when I print from Photoshop, I have an option, and it says for the printing profile, it says let Photoshop manage the colors. If whatever software you're printing from does not say something like that, like let this program manage the colors, then you are shooting yourself in the foot. Why? Because we just told the printer not to manage the colors, and if you don't have an option to manage the color from that software, you don't know what you're going to end up with, okay? So in that case, if you don't have a printer, a program that's able to manage the color like Photoshop, that's why I say just print from Photoshop. Make your life easier. Just print from Photoshop. If you do nothing else with Photoshop but print from it, do that. It makes your life easier. So let's say you want to print from Silhouette or something else, then you need to tell the printer to choose the colors and not your software, okay? Because, and then you're going to end up with some kind of crazy combination too, because your printer was not designed with Sublimation ink. So it's going to think it's printing Pigment ink, and it may have some different variations. You're going to come out with some blues that look purple. You may come out with some reds that look orange. I'm just telling you, if you don't want orange reds and you don't want purple blues, just do what Shanon says. You know, Shanon says to get Photoshop, if nothing else, but to manage your color is worth it. Okay, it is worth it, you all. Especially when you're tired of you're tired of printing something up, pressing it, and seeing, dang, my blues look hella purple, or dang, that red looks so orange. But hey, I gotta hand it off because I've already printed out 10 of these things. Okay, so that's just my suggestion. I've been doing this for years upon years upon years, and when I find something that works, I'm going to tell you what works, what saves you time and energy. It doesn't necessarily save you money, but that $10 a month will save you time and energy, and possibly money. How many shirts do you mess up because you get misprinted colors? Somebody answer that for me. Please let me know. Am I just making this up, or is it a big deal when you print something and the blues come out purple and the reds come out orange, or your blacks come out brown? How often is that an issue for you in printing from some of these other design programs? Please let me know. If it's not an issue for you, then I won't push y'all. I won't be a Photoshop pusher when it comes to color management. But I feel like that's a lot of the issues that I see from some of you all, and I want to let you know, hey, if that's your problem, I'm giving you a solution. And part of the solution is, yes, to invest in Photoshop. The other part of the solution is set these settings up one time and you're going to get consistent results. And I'll tell you this too, with those those ICC profiles they send you, an ICC profile is also going to perform differently based on different programs you're printing from. So now you've added another variable. I'm trying to tell you, I am not using an ICC profile at all. I'm using the good old tried and true Epson IJ07, which is innate to your printer settings. Okay, not doing anything extra. And I'm not using the ICC profile, and I'm going to show you the results that I get with these settings and this True Colors ink. Yes, my girl Tanya is talking about she screams daily from that. Color correction, whew, it can be, especially because Tanya, you care about how your shirts match your sneakers and stuff. So I know I know you have the same issue that I have. And even if I'm giving it to a customer, they might not be so picky about color, but I am a color fanatic. I'll see a color and I will tell you whether that's cerulean blue or sky blue or cobalt blue or Carolina blue versus a cyan. I can't stand these colors being off. So I'm giving you my best practices so that you can adopt them as your best practices. And if you come up with something better, let me know, please, because I'm always willing to learn and do things the easy way. Okay. Got you. Okay, so some of you are saying that those color issues are real issues. So y'all let me know when we have. I hear people screaming in groups about how bad the color is from their screen to their printer to their substrate. And I'm just trying to tell you my best practices. There are ways to tweak it, and we can go into those ways. I can show you how to go into the gamuts and make it push more magenta from your printer, even though it doesn't see that much magenta on the screen. I can tell you how to push those things. That's not what we want to be doing. We want to see something on the screen, print it, and it looks damn near like what we saw on the screen, if not the same thing. Okay, that's our objective. And Mona says, okay, we trust you, girl. All right, baby, good. So I don't have to keep preaching about that. All right, so but you're gonna see, even with these same settings, I'm going to go on and show you my process. So, oh, this is the pretty part of the process. I got to show this part because y'all know what I'm talking. Y'all feel my pain on these 7070s.
We'll keep on the black point compensation. So let's see if this one is going to print. Let me get my timer ready. And I'm just letting it go. Hopefully it's connected to the right printer. It's telling me I have not installed genuine ink cartridges. That's something else that's going to happen with this. So that takes up a little time too, especially if you did not know that this was going to pop up. So we're going to hit continue here. And I'll show you how we can turn these things off too. So timer's going on for that.
So yes, later in the video, I also show you how to turn off that annoying Epson status monitor that tells you stuff like that. So I turn it off for all of my printers. But let's see. It was printing. And then what happened, I think I started timing the other printer. And immediately when these 7710s don't get all the little attention that they want, guess what they do? They tell you that it needs a cartridge change. So it's just like a baby, like want a diaper change. Tell me that those 7710s aren't big babies, please. Y'all, let me know your experience, because I have dealt with so many of them. I'm talking about, I've had over probably 12 of these things. Oh God, probably over 12 in a year. Because I do take them on the road, and I use and abuse these things now. So yeah, let me show you what this thing, it decides to show out. Oh no. Oh no, Mama Wooden, you think that you got some new printers on the block and you're not going to look after me? So let's see if I can go ahead and push it through. It might be in a whole nother video because this thing was definitely acting up on me. Let me see. Oh yeah, there it goes. There she goes. Let me let her show out on camera.
And we can see it's printing in reverse, so it's doing what it's supposed to do there. Alright, so here we go with the 7710. This is a good demonstration of what I expected to happen. So now it's saying that the yellow cartridge cannot recognize the ink cartridge. Try installing again. Now, if this were a real life scenario, I would not have ink cartridges available. And guess what would happen? Voila.
Okay, so let me go ahead and finish this part of the tragedy. But this is every day. Printing with the 7710s and 20s, and the 7610s and 20s, the 7210s and 20s. It just is what it is. When you have these cartridges, it's great that they're refillable. I don't deal with those continuous ink systems for these setups. I have had way too many of them leak on me and cause way more problems than they're worth. So I like being able to interchange the cartridges. So I do sell the cartridges. And every time you buy a set of ink, I'm not assuming that you have an Innate printer. So when you buy a set of ink, they come with 127 milliliters each bottle. And then I also include the syringes. So I have a video that I have to post too of me and my 9-year-old niece doing it as well. Filling up a set of cartridges from scratch, making sure that little bubble is filled up. So yes, you have to do that. And you have to do that every single time it says it's empty, even if it's not empty. Because if you let it run dry, you risk pulling that air into your system, drying out your print heads, and causing all kind of worlds of trouble that you don't want to deal with. But you already know what's next. Let me go ahead and push this next video through.
11.
Okay, maybe that wasn't the next one. What were we on? 7? Was it 7?
It's going to stop in the middle of my print. And it's going to try to use up another sheet of sublimation paper, if this was sublimation paper, to print out the rest of that print. Don't ask me why it does that. It's aggravating. It's all get out. But then I would have to take my yellow and refill that cartridge. And it still has some yellow. It still has some ink there. And it is pretty full. So if I were to refill this right now, which I should do just because I should show you the time that it takes to do it, I'm just going to kind of, kind of mimic what I would do to fill this up. And I would end up having to...
Okay, this is me showing you mimicking filling this up. But if you have this 7710, you already know the drill. You know what's up. You know the aggravation of having to stop in the middle of your print and refill those cartridges, and then having to reinitialize them, because basically once you put it back in, it's going to take a little time to charge, not initialize them, but charge the print head for that particular cartridge, for it to recognize that it's brand new, when all you really did was lift it up and put it back down. And I'm also going to advise you, if you're still using this system and these cartridges, do not just pick it up, say, oh yeah, it looks full, and put it back in. The reason why is because it may take just a little bit of ink to top that off for it to really truly be full. And if you do not fill it back up and you set that cartridge back in there, the computer or the computer chip is telling Epson, the printer, that it is full. What will happen is it will run that cartridge dry. If you run those cartridges dry, especially this is any cartridge, but especially the ones that have the circle in the middle, then you're going to have to reprime it. And I have found that these primed cartridges work best. This is why I offer them and use them. They leak a lot less. The ones that have the ridges on the side, they're just easy peasy. You don't have to prime them. You just fill them up. I have those cartridges too, used them for years, and I feel like they're the ones that leak the most and give me the most issues. The ones with the chamber, the circle chamber, tend to have better overall printing, as far as not giving me issues with the lines that you get, or the skip lines that you get when you're printing. It just gives me better performance. And I'm the type of person, I'd rather do a little bit of harder work filling these cartridges up each time and have better performance than to have a easy peasy product that I get unpredictable results. That's the same reason why I'm telling you to print from Photoshop. It's the same reason why I'm telling you this is why I recommend these type of cartridges. And I do teach you how to prime them. So I have a video showing you how to fill them for the first time, and then how to prime them if you need to when you refill them, if that hole gets empty, how to reprime them, okay? How do you clean the ink out? Monet, that's an excellent question. That's going to be a separate video. I do have a printhead cleaner, and I'm going to show you the process from beginning to end, how to clean your print heads. And there's like a simple kind of quick clean, and then there's a deep clean where you can let it sit overnight if you have a really, really bad clog. And I'm going to show you that process too. But that will definitely be a different video. But I do have the product. It's online right now. If you go to innatelab.com, you can purchase the printhead cleaner. All right, y'all are giving me some good questions. I'm glad y'all sticking it out with me tonight. All right, so yeah, Monet says she threw away a lot of those cartridges and she's sick of that printer. Now, I can't rag on the 7710. It has brought me through a lot. And when I say a lot, like literally Christmas season, I will be printing. I'll have 4 or 5 of those babies lined up, printing, 50 prints at a time through them, and just to get through a day's worth of orders or whatever I have to do. So I can't be mad at the 7710. It's pushed me through, but it definitely gives me issues, okay? So we just have to work within whatever that budget is, and then hopefully once you're able to upgrade because your sublimation business is giving you that promise, then absolutely, if you can afford it, get the eco tanks. Okay. All right. So let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and push through this part. They just me getting upset, and just like Monet said, she's sick of the cartridges. I was ranting about the cartridges too. But these particular ones are the ones that you do have to prime, and I do show you how to prime those. So they're a little less aggy, Let's see. I'm on video number 24. Let me see if that's even a video. I think that's probably me just testing. Let's see, 25. Oh yeah, I think I finally got yellow in there, and we're going good. Let's see. That's probably me talking more junk about the 7710. Yep, I am. And literally, it took me, by the time I got it up and running, I think it ended up taking me almost 20 minutes. It was funny, but it was true. Okay. I think I can push you through this one. I wanted to see what the time was. There we go.
Let's do a reset. We'll do last page. I looked away and it was
okay. That was actually the time for the 16650. So I need to go back to that one so I can tell y'all these times. As a matter of fact, if somebody
it probably was some ink on that print.
And E, I know you're good for this because you're good with keeping up with records. I need for you to put down the time of when these finish. And I'm trying to fast forward to them. Y'all don't literally have to watch me in the real time minutes. Let me see.
Because I got tired of it stopping in the middle of my big long prints, and I got tired of tiling stuff, which is a whole nother story. So this is a good comparison for you all. I'm going to go ahead and break down the cost of these things too, because for me, I had several of these 7710s before I even thought about upgrading to another system, because I wanted it to make its money back, and it has. I can't say anything bad about 7710 as far as what it has done for me, because I've been able to sustain business with these 7710s, especially on the road. However, it's been one of my biggest issues being on the road with these. Okay.
Alright, so I think I just explained that to you. Let me see. I just want to get some time. Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4. So.
Okay, so the 15,000 is almost done printing its 5. And I think I have a timestamp in just a second, Erica, or anyone else who's taking notes right now. You see, it's almost done printing that final page, and then I can get a timestamp for you.
Stop the timer. Where is the timer? Stop.
Okay.
Okay, so 11 minutes, and it probably was a few more seconds.
Okay, so 11 minutes and 31 seconds. Okay, so we'll say 11:30. So 11 minutes 30 seconds. It was what it took to print 5 pages at the maximum quality setting. Okay, that's maximum quality. It took 11 minutes 30 seconds for the EcoTank 15,000. So that's our first timestamp.
For a few less seconds for the 15,000.
And then I'm going to scroll it on over. And then what I also did was I printed it the high quality instead of the maximum quality. Y'all see my little half a print there that I'm sitting there disgusted with. So I'm going to have to send one more print to the 7710 just to make sure it actually got 5 prints. So yes, I had to go back to the computer and send another print because it stopped in the middle of my print. Now you'll get to see the 16650
purge file is going through.
Literally, I just hit
still
print.
printing here. We're up to 16 minutes and 55 seconds with the 7710. Oh my gosh, look at how fast that printed out. Now what I really want to know is if the quality is going to be on point, because it didn't have the highest quality setting. So when it comes to color, I'm very aware of how color can change based on the paper settings and the print settings. So what we are going to do is our final test is going to be running 13 by 19 paper through these printers, sublimation paper, and we're going to do a single print and see how long it takes and how it presses as far as with the settings. Make sure they're all consistent. Okay, so this is impressing me right now. We're a minute in and it printed out 3 pages. Whoa, 4 pages already. Jeez Louise. Now, I can't say I am surprised. I can't say that I'm super surprised, because the reason why I bought this printer is because it stated that it can print up to 25 pages per minute of color, okay? And that is opposed to this one only being able to do 9 pages per minute. This one is about 9 to 10 pages per minute. But as you can see, even between these two that are supposed to be comparable in pages per minute, the 7710 is taking much longer, because you're going to end up with issues of your cartridges reading is empty. All right, so oh shoot, I'm gonna have to look at the video to see when this was officially done, because this was done way before a minute 44 seconds.
All right, so yeah, y'all are gonna have to help keep me on track. I'm gonna go back because I can kind of see when that final print printed, and I can almost catch the time on the timer there, because I was talking and I was ragging on my 7710. That's what I get. I told you them 7710s are jealous. So let me see if I can see when that exactly printed. That's a minute 40. So somebody put 1 minute 40 seconds for the EcoTank 16650, and that's printing at high quality. So there's a difference between high quality and max quality. So you put HQ or high quality, that's going to be the record for that. Big deal, right? So let's go ahead and move on to the next timer. I'm going to quit talking junk about my 7710, because I feel like that's the reason why stuff goes wrong is because I'm ragging on my little equipment. And I just need to be grateful and count my blessings. All right, so now what I'm doing is I'm going to, because I did the high quality mode is not maximum quality, okay? Because I did the high quality mode and that's the only option that I had for the 16650, I also did the high quality mode for the 15,000, okay? So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm sending the high quality through the 15,000 and I set my timer. So let's see that. And I'm just going to go ahead and push that through to see how long that took. Hopefully we get the resolved before the end of this video. And I think it's going to push us to the next video. So that one's going to be 225. There we go.
Printouts.
All right, so... And I'm trying to, y'all should see me double, like, trying to multitask. It's not a cute thing. I totally forgot to set my timer for the second 7710 one. And I had to redo it. Okay, so 2 minutes is what we're on for the high quality. Let me see, I'm going to push it. Okay, I pick up the timer, so, oh, there we go. That's me talking junk about the 7710.
And we'll do that once we stop all this because I'm not a multitasker and I'm pretty sure I would mess up somewhere and not time something appropriately. So we're still going on this.
So when I say I'm pretty sure, I'm actually really sure that happened.
It's finally done. I'm going to call this done at 22 minutes and 47 seconds for the 7710, okay? 22 minutes, 47 seconds versus 11 minutes over here and 30 seconds versus 1 minute and 30 seconds over here. And it looks like I'm almost done over here, but it's initializing the cartridges, so it's probably recharging those print heads there, pulling more ink into the system. So right about now we're at almost 4 minutes, and it looks like it's 1, 2, 3. I should have taken my other ones out. 6, 7, 8. So I still have 2 more pages to print over here. But I definitely see the difference. I see the difference between the 7710 and the EcoTank 15,000. This machine is right now about $250 to $300. You still have to convert the cartridges. You have to purchase cartridges for them, which are about $25 to $30. It does take the same exact sublimation ink that I have for these, so you have to consider that. So this is about a $300 investment. This one is about a $600 investment just for the machine, because you don't have to buy cartridges. Pretty much how you buy it is ready to go, and just pop your sublimation ink into these systems, and the bottles fit exactly how the original Epson bottles do, so you're good with that. Alright, and it's even telling you, I like how it's telling you that's printing sheet number 4 right now. That's awesome. I don't have that. Well, I don't know, maybe I do on the 7710. It just prints so slow, I've never checked to see if that's an option. So the 16650, we've gotten some good data out of it. And what I'll probably do is I'll just take these and I'll probably do some testing, just pressing those onto a piece of fabric. Now, I know this is not sublimation paper that's in here right now. I would not be printing this out like this if it was, but you can sublimate from regular copy paper. It's just not going to give you the true vibrancy and true colors that you really can expect from a special sublimation release paper. Okay, so print number 5 is printing, and let's see, we're at 5 minutes 47 seconds, almost 6 minutes. So it is definitely a difference between the high level and the highest level of printing quality when it comes to how long it takes these to print. So because I said I'm going to be fair, I'm going to go ahead and stop this timer. It's done. 6 minutes 5 seconds, or 6 minutes 6 seconds, rounded up.
Okay, so here the timer to mark is 6 minutes 6 seconds for the Epson 15,000 at high quality. So instead of max quality, this is high quality. And if we look at our notes from before, 11 minutes 30 seconds, so that cut our time in half. From 11 minutes 30 seconds to 6 minutes and 6 seconds. All right, and I think we're also going to see that we get a similar situation with the 7710. Kind of cut our time down. All right, so, and Erica, thank you. So 1:40 for the Epson 16650 at high quality. So 1:40 versus 6 minutes. That's definitely at least cutting that time. Well, it's at least 3 times faster, at least. So I definitely want you all to consider that. When you consider the equipment that you're purchasing, the things that you're investing in, that time is really, really money. And I can't begin to express to you the reason why when I go to these shows, these trade shows, and I bring 2, sometimes even 3 printers, is because those printers are so slow that, and I can't afford to not be printing something on one printer and be over there filling up ink cartridges on another. These people, they see something, they want it, they see it on the screen, they want it right then and there. So this is a game changer for me, and I'm pretty excited about this. Once, you know, once we get things settled with COVID, I can't wait to go to an event and use the EcoTank printer and see how much more smoothly my operation can go, especially from the consumer, their directions to their actual picking up of their product. Usually it's a few minutes and I have to tell them, hey, you know, go grab you something to eat, come back and I have your item ready. This will be phenomenal if literally within 3 minutes I can have their image approved, printed, and pressed onto a product. Okay, so I'm excited. Haven't tried it yet, but I'm really excited. I'll let you all know how it goes, trust me. All right, so we got that time for and I think instead of listening to me talk so much more, I set the timer for the Epson 7710. Oh yeah, what happened was I forgot to set the timer for the 7710. So that's going to be in another video. I would love to come to New York. I honestly, I would love to start doing events with you all. So kind of like a on-the-job training type of thing where we set up 4 events, and in the meantime, you know, you all can come out and learn how to do on-demand products and what you need to set up. And I usually bring tent, tables, generators, all of that good stuff. If it's an outdoor event, if it's an indoor event like the sneaker conventions, then I'm bringing tables, heat presses, printers, substrates, that sort of thing, displays. So it's fun. It really is fun. And I get a kick out of it because I'm not a social person unless I'm doing something like that. Because then I'm, you know, I'm kind of my own boss. I'm behind a desk. So people come to me for expertise. If you catch me at any other social gathering, I'm standing on the wall looking mean and mad. Don't ask me why. All right, so I think that's all that we're going to get out of this one as far as time. Let me see what's next. I appreciate you all doing this with me too.
If that's the case,
because if y'all were going to be waiting for me to edit this, Lord, I'm hungry now. Can y'all imagine how many days it would have took me to create this footage for you all and really try to anticipate the questions that you would ask? So I'm really happy y'all are here with me. All right, so this is me pulling out these little paper trays while I'm waiting for that old 7710 to print. Oh, I did time this 7710 the second time. I think that's it over there.
ink issues. 3 minutes and 13 seconds on our wide format.
Okay, so here's a timestamp. I did print on the wide format. Did I record it at all? I think I did. Let me see. I think I started it and I probably walked away from it. So what did I say? 3 minutes and 13 seconds. Okay, so here's the issue for the wide format. Just like the 16650, so I'm guessing the pro level of stuff, when you print on the plain paper setting, it doesn't give you the maximum quality option. It only gives you high quality. So same difference with the 7270. It did 5 prints in 3 minutes and 12 seconds. And we'll call that HQ, high quality. It did not do the max quality. Okay, so if someone would take note of that, I would love it. Yeah, we got to stop in Atlanta too. I promise y'all, we're gonna get this thing together. By the time they finally break these COVID chains, we're gonna be loose in these streets, in these sublimation streets, that is. All right, so 3 minutes 12 seconds. So that is that's pretty comparable to the 15,000. Okay, and of course it's not exactly 3 minutes 12 seconds because it printed it all as one long sheet, and I'll show you that. So I would have to trim that apart too. I'm just letting you know. For those of you who are wondering, I'm just letting you know. Okay, so see, it's one long sheet.
Okay, and of course we would have to trim these too. So
boy, I sound like my own clone. Okay, so of course we have to trim this too. Didn't I just say that?
we have to trim each of those. That's a little extra time there. This one was around a minute 30. So let's go 3:30, 3 minutes 30 seconds, 1 minute, and
that was 3 minutes 13 seconds, not 3:30. So 3:13.
30 seconds. This one with no issues at all was 6 minutes. 6 minutes. Now, I will guarantee you this will give you issues the majority of the time that you're trying to print. So I would add on to that. Don't ever think that you're going to print 6 pages or 5 pages in 6 minutes with this system. It's almost guaranteed that, especially if you're printing 13 by 19s, at some point in the process, it's going to break, tell you that it needs some new ink, even if it doesn't, and you're going to have to respond to that by refilling the cartridge, popping it back in, letting it reinitialize, wasting up a sheet of paper, possibly wasting up 2 sheets of paper if you forget to cancel the print job and restart it, and then having to restart that print job or reprint one of those extra pages that it messed up. So this is 6 with no issues, but I guarantee you will have issues as you're printing this. So before we had what was it, over 20 minutes? 20 minutes?
Yeah, so before it took 20 minutes, this time on the high quality. So that is a time marker there. So for the 7710, printing at high quality, it did 6 minutes, or 6 minutes and 4 seconds. Okay, so, and that's with no cartridge change issues. But like I said, it's very rare that you're going to print you know, a few of these pages without running into those cartridge refill errors. Okay, so 6 minutes on high quality for the Epson 7710.
This one on the print mode of high instead of highest, we ended up with 3 minutes, and I think 3 minutes and 8 seconds on this one. So if we were,
I think it was 3 minutes and, yeah, it might have been 3 minutes and 8 seconds. Okay, so the Epson 7710 was 6 minutes and 4 seconds printing at high quality. So HQ, not max quality, but high quality. Okay, at max quality, I'm gonna tell you this too, at max quality, it took about 20 minutes. It took 22 minutes and some seconds, 22 minutes and I forget how many seconds, because of how much it, you know, it ran out of ink. It ran out of 2 different ink cartridges during that process. Okay, which is not unlikely. So it's not normally gonna, 20 minutes is not a normal time, but neither is 6 minutes when you're dealing with that system and having to worry about changing out those ink cartridges. But if we're gonna keep it real, it did what it did. It didn't misbehave. I think it was, you know, a little embarrassed, and it was trying to clean up its act for part 2. So part 2 was the high quality mode instead of the max quality mode, and it did 6 minutes 4 seconds on high quality. Also, let me tell you, when you print on max quality, or when you tell it that it's photo paper, it's trying to lay down so much ink, I guarantee you it's going to stop you in the middle of your prints. So when you print faster or lower quality, it may not give you the exact color consistency that you want, but it's not going to stop in the middle of every other print. Okay, so that's one of the reasons why I stopped printing on, I don't use the photo paper. I don't even use premium presentation matte paper settings, because I notice when I use those settings, it lays down more ink. What happens when you lay down more ink? It pretends those cartridges are empty sooner, and I could not stand it. And I used to get purpley blues whenever I would use the premium presentation matte setting. But I realized when I used the plain paper, it didn't lay down as much ink, and I didn't get purple blues. So I hope that rang to you. Matter of fact, I think I could type it too. I'm just acting like I'm helpless over here, like I can't type. So it's 6 minutes 4 seconds, and I won't put it as a marker. 6 minutes 4 seconds for the Epson 7710, print, plain paper, and then high quality. Okay. And I think I said it was 3 minutes. I don't know if we got that one yet. 3 minutes and 14 seconds for what was that? The 44-inch, the T7270. And it just had one quality, but I'm going to call it high quality. Plain paper. So all of these were on plain paper. And yes, Tanya, that's a great thing too, to recognize that you get more of those streaks to show up. And let me tell you the reason why primarily those streaks are showing up on your paper is because two things. One is that when you refill those cartridges, especially those cheaper cartridges, and I won't call them cheaper, they cost the same. It's just they don't have the chamber. So the way that those work is it kind of pulls the ink through the system. So as it's charging those print heads, it's pulling that ink. Now, it does it in an inefficient manner, so sometimes it pulls too much ink and it's just ends up bleeding ink. And you'll notice it. You'll know that that's what it's doing, because as soon as you refill magenta, you drop magenta back down, guess what? You're going to see a puddle of magenta on your paper somewhere. And it does the same thing with pretty much any color that you're basically refilling and dropping down into there. Now, I will not say that it doesn't happen with the ink cartridges with the chambers. I just say it's less frequent, okay? Just less frequent. All right, so yeah, that cleanup is not fun, because you have to do print head cleanings until it goes away, and lo and behold, it happens when you're doing a last minute project. All right, so let's see what else we got going on here. Any more timers? I'm sitting here telling y'all to take notes. I could have typed this the whole time. I'm literally sitting here with a keyboard in my lap. Let's see, anything else I'm telling y'all?
20 minutes, depending on how you have to change out those ink cartridges and stop your timer, stop your day in order to fix the system, to get it running back how you need it to run to continue your print.
Oh, the other thing is not attending that thing. Like I said, the 710 is a big baby. You walk away from that thing if you want to. Think you about to go to sleep and print 20, 30 prints. No, ma'am, it's not going to happen like that. Life is not that easy. It will stop printing on the second or third print, and then when you wake up in the morning, it'll tell you that it needs a cartridge change. So I think this is just me telling you that you have excess ink. So I'm going to go on. I think we got all of our times here, and I think the main thing we want to see now.
I think we're good to go to take a break.
So yeah, we'll take a little break, and 126. Let's see what I'm going. Oh, this is me just testing out the paper. So this did work out. I thought it would only take like single sheets in the back, and I thought that was going to like break my heart, especially how much I spent on these printers. But it worked out. It really worked out. I was able to put
quality setting for the plain paper and the high quality settings for the plain paper. So we can stop that at 5 minutes, pretty much on the head, because it took me.
Okay, so I did need to see that previous one, because now we need time. So now we're into the 13 by 19 prints, and I do have time for those. And this is a little more realistic for you all because we're mostly printing 13 by 19 prints. So let me see if I could just grab some times, because I know y'all are tired. Y'all want to go to sleep, but it's it's kind of eating you up. You want to see what happens between these printer wars, and I'm glad that y'all are sticking it out with me, because I'm tired myself, trust me. All right, so let's see. Am I going to get some times, or what am I doing? I'm just probably rambling about that 7710.
Add more than just a single sheet, because I was not about to be here.
Yeah, that's me. complaining about it. 7710. Oh no, not 7710, but whether I'm gonna be able to put multiple sheets in there. Okay, so what I did was I printed out this color chart. It's from Silky Socks. It's free. You can download it. It's a really helpful tool. It's not Pantone, but it will get you at least some good color references. Okay, so I'm printing that out.
So we can get this right. I'm going to start with the 15,000. Now what I'm going to do is not put any paper in it so that I can show you basically how it tells you there's no paper or how it tells you to load. So 15,000, I'm going to go to my print settings, and as we did earlier, I'm going to go ahead and put in a 13x19 true Innate Lab Sublimation. And that's pretty much the settings that we wanted to go off of, because we already laid it out to where we told it was going to go from the rear paper feed. So let's go here. We're going to turn it to landscape orientation so that everything fits on there. Now here's the thing, I have to go back to my print settings because I want to do two things. Well, I tell you what, I'm going to print one on the highest setting like we did last time. I'll time it, and then I'll print another one without the highest print setting, just on high. Okay, so you'll see here for more settings I have highest, and I'm going to try that out so you all get to see how my prototyping system kind of works out.
So again, we're going to print one at max quality, and then we're going to print one at the high quality. Okay, now I'm calling it max quality because on the system it reads high and highest, but because I got tired of saying highest that way, I'm just going to start calling it max quality. So you got max quality and high quality. Okay.
All right, so when I hit print, I'm going to hit start at the same time and go. All right, so while that one is printing, I'll get my phone timer, and let's get that together, reset, and I think what I'll do, I'll go ahead and do the, okay, here we go. So the paper's out in the rear paper slide. That's cool because it gives me an opportunity to show you how to load this. It's taking up a few more seconds, but it's worth it. Now this paper has a yellow tint to the back, and you're going to load it with the printable side face up. Okay, and let me show you what this looks like from back here. I have to close this tray so I can get closer. Hopefully you can see with my head camera.
But you cannot.
And you want to kind of sift through the pages to make sure that they are, it says that on the other one, sift through the pages, like flip through them. I just kind of tap them and knock them into place because you do want them to be consistently stacked in there. And I just put it in. This doesn't go any further than this, so 13x19, you see it kind of hanging there. I could, this table is on some little sliders. I could kind of rest it on the table so that it doesn't flop down like that. I really don't like the paper flopping down. I'd almost rather it rest on the wall just to give it some kind of stability there. Alright, so this is what it's telling you. You can fan and align the edges of the paper. You can flatten the paper curl because it doesn't like a curl. And you also can clean the paper feed rolls if this occurs regularly, but we made this occur. We literally took the paper out. All right, so now that it says paper out, I'm going to hit next. I loaded the paper. Now I'm going to hit done. And as a matter of fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stop the timer because we would have already had the paper in there, and I'm going to go ahead and start it now. Hit done because I wanted to show you what it looks like to load the paper. I thought that would be helpful for you all. Alright, let's see what it does. 13x19, and I have a little bit of a bend on this paper. Like I said, I want to see how this 15,000 works because it tends to not like the corners bent up, any kind of curl in the paper. I saw some issues with that, even with the 8.5x11 paper that is just, you know, standard copy paper.
Okay, so we're going to go through the timer here. And I think we're also going to go ahead and set up the same thing here.
I'm getting the paper error here too. So I'm going to load the paper once this is ready because I've already sent the print file over there. I'll show you how to load that in just a moment. We're at 1 minute 26 seconds so far. And this one isn't so much about the time as much as it is about how it deals with multiple sheets of paper. Like I said, I wouldn't load more than, you know, a few sheets at a time just to make sure that it's pulling the paper through properly, because I don't like the fact that the paper is exposed. It's hanging over the edge of that rear paper feed flap, and it has a potential to kind of, you know, warp and do some weird things depending on what your environmental elements are. So this one is printing on the highest quality. I'm going to go ahead, and as soon as that's done, matter of fact, I can go ahead and get it set up now. I'm going to go ahead and print one that's not on the highest quality. So we'll go to print settings, and remember how before we went to more settings and it's on the highest quality. I'm going to go ahead and bring this one down to high instead of highest, and then I won't hit print though until this is done, so I can go ahead and time the print time. And it's already got paper in it, so this should be a pretty even and fair comparison. Now I'm also taking a look at my ink here in this eco tank. Looks like the ink has settled in. We're down to the first mark now. We were a little bit higher to that very top mark when we first started. Same thing here. We were at not the top mark when we filled this one up. We were to the third mark, and now it seemed to have pulled a good deal of magenta, and now we're down to about the halfway mark. So I would imagine that this system could have accepted more ink than the 127 milliliters for the black, and I could have probably gone a little, you know, a little more into the top mark, but I didn't want to overfill these things. Okay, I didn't want my first experience trying to show out being one where I messed something up. Now, knowing me, I will try some stuff, and if I try some stuff and it works out, I'll let you know. Okay. So we are right now at about 3 minutes 37 seconds. Now this is a little more like the time that it would take to print something that you were using full color and printing 13 by 19. So before, when we did the 8.5 pages, we were trying to see how many prints we can get done in a certain amount of time, and it was really based on a size sheet that I don't typically print, but we were also printing about an even amount of color from each ink cartridge. So it was about you know, even between the cyan, magenta, yellow, and the black. So that's not a very common situation. You're going to have some prints where you have a lot of magenta, a lot of red, or a lot of blue, and it's not necessarily going to be a very fair comparison. This one is a color chart. That's why I chose a color chart, because it does have some very unique colors in here, but it's using a mix of a lot of these inks and not just, you know, a single row of each color. So right now we're at about 4 minutes 36 seconds. And what I will do, once I start this next one, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the 16650, and hopefully I remember to cut this timer off for the second version. But I'm very interested to see how the press results press between.
Okay, so I'm going to go
quality setting.
All right, so I think we're almost out of time. There we are. So
because it took me a couple seconds to pick that up.
So I'm going to call that 5 minutes flat. And this is a 13 by 19. So now we're doing the color chart. This is the EcoTank 15,000. And it was a 13 by 19 print. 13 by 19. And I'm going to call this max quality. If I could spell quality, Q-U-A-L-I-T-Y, max quality. And Nola, great question. That color chart is from, go to silkysocks.com, and I think in the resources or like downloads or something like that, it has a color chart there. Let's see, 5 minutes, max quality. All right.
So 5 minutes on the head.
All right, let's see if I can push this on through. Now, at the same time, my 16650 was getting ready to go through. And remember, the 16650 on plain paper setting, it does not have a maximum quality, so we're only going to get high quality. We're going to get what we call high quality out of it. And I think it does denote it as high quality. So I have my timer set. which is printing. Wait a minute, that thing wasn't done, was it? That thing was not done. Let me see if that timer was correct.
Pray that whatever I'm talking about is actually in the view of the camera. All right, so definitely significant difference there, I have to tell you. I'm going to compare the pressing difference.
Yo, check that out. Okay, so that was it. It was literally 30 seconds. Because I'm pretty sure I didn't see it at first. Let me see if it was 30 seconds.
Even on the high level. Okay, so 32 seconds versus 2 minutes and 31 seconds. I hope y'all can.
Okay, so EcoTank 16650, high quality, 13 by 19, was 32 seconds. And then I'm guessing where, well, I shouldn't be guessing. I should tell y'all. Let me not guess. Let me see where I was talking about the 2-minute one. I'm thinking, yeah, I think that was for the second.
Not the highest printing mode. So that's it. That's done. Matter of fact, it took me a couple of seconds to get to it to tell it to stop. Now, that has to print faster because this 15,000 is still printing even on the high level. Okay, so 32 seconds versus 2 minutes and 31.
All right, so there we have it. So the EcoTank 16650, doing a 13 by 19 at high quality, took 2 minutes and 30 seconds. I guess 31 seconds. Okay, so no, that wasn't the 16650. That was the EcoTank 15,000. Y'all let me lie to y'all. 15,000. Okay, so the EcoTank 15,000 printing a 13 by 19 with the high quality setting was 2 minutes and 31 seconds. Bam. Get some good data here. Doesn't this feel good to get some real numbers?
1 second. I hope y'all can see that. I don't know what this head camera is looking at, so I just pray that whatever I'm talking about is actually in the view of the camera. All right, so definitely significant difference there, I have to tell you.
All right, so let's see if I see. I am supposed to get some data from this 7110. Let's see what I got from the 7110. It's like poor baby and don't even have any paper hanging out of it. I think I'm just not getting to the 7110. I'm not 7110. The 7710. I'm just disrespecting it all over the place. I'm sorry, baby. I still love you. All right, so let's get to the getting to. I think I started printing that one and I forgot to set the timer. So then I had to come back and do it all over again. And act like I was labeling stuff to kill some time. That's my life. All right, so I'm going to move on to the next video because I don't think I have any time in this one. So that is 226. I'm going to go to 227. I'm sorry, 326.
Sure Color 70.
Okay, so now I'm sending it to my Sure Color, which is the wide format printer. And I did a time test for that one.
You can see if any of my colors look different as it's printing. And just from the naked eye, like I said, I don't know if you can tell, there's slight banding here. And like I said, that's just due to...
Did I even stop the timer? Boy, I am the worst. I cannot be double, like, doing more than one task. I can't multitask. It is proven, it's on video, your girl cannot multitask. My dad told me that over and over and over again throughout life. And I still try. And I used to burn boiled eggs because I would leave the kitchen to go try to find something else to do. And I'd come back, all the water would be out of the pot for the eggs, and I would have literally burnt boiled eggs. It's a travesty. That's why I used to make me stay in the kitchen and focus. I get it now, Daddy. I get it. Took me a few years, but I finally understand. All right. So let me get some time here. I'm trying to get some time so I don't have to push y'all through this same process. There we go. I think I seen a timer in my face.
Get my phone ready. This reset. And this.
And before I reset, what was I?
At max quality. So maybe that's where you're giving a little bit. And we'll see if that matters when we do our press test. Okay. So now I can go ahead and do my max quality time check. So let's grab, where did I put the little timer? I done lost it already. Lord. Well, at least I have my phone still. Oh well, it's somewhere to be found. So let's do file print. I get my phone ready. This reset. And this time we're going to do the 7710. The print settings we're going to set to the basic 13x19 true innate lab sublimation. So this is going to be max quality. And we'll give it a second to render that. And let's go ahead and go to the landscape layout and for.
Okay, let me get a time here. Now there was 3 minutes 6 seconds. I think that's what it was for the large format. And I'm gonna double check because I have to review this footage anyway. So I'll make sure we get these times right. So yeah, that's finally printing out the 7710. I had a little timer in my face.
I guarantee if I try to do something else, I'm gonna mess up again. So we're gonna keep it together. Got this timer going, and let's see, we're at 3 minutes and 15 seconds right now. And as soon as it's done, I'm gonna go ahead and cut for a break and go get that heat press ready. It's like watching paint dry.
Okay, so
this is
I just put up the time for the 7270. I'll correct myself if I'm wrong, but that's the 44-inch printer, and it did 13x19 print in 3 minutes and 6 seconds. Okay, which is a little bit longer than the 15,000. So it sounds about right. Let's see. Let me see if I get a time for this one before I head off. And no, I don't. I really hate that I have to splice all of these together. I really thought
learn something
that the GoPro was going to have my back and just seamlessly merge my little videos, but obviously I was sadly mistaken. Let me get a time, please, sir, ma'am. I don't have a time there either. Okay, so I think this is when I was comparing stuff. So here we go. So I'm going to have to go back and find the time for the 7710. But we can pretty much get an idea based on the other ones what the time was. So because it's 11 o'clock at night and I want you all to go to bed at some point tonight, I'm going to show you the results for the color. And this is after I pressed 60 seconds at 400 degrees, same pressure, and I used a 21M shirt. Yes, I cut up my good shirt just so I can get some swatches for you all.
The color too. I'll bring the color over just to let you all see. That's the first color that I'm going to check, and I know for sure.
And let me just kind of fast forward without me doing all the talking, because y'all will get the full video to hear me all doing all the talking. But what I would like for you really to see is how the color
1500 or 15,000, I'm sorry, to the 7710. And again, you'll see the difference between the max quality and the high quality. Max quality is much more of a dense color if you see it, but if you saw it right next to it, you can tell. If you didn't see these right up next to one another, you probably wouldn't be able to discern one red from the other. But I will tell you, on max quality, I do see a difference here in the red, just like I see a difference in the max quality for the 7710. Same thing here with the pink here. Now with the pink, I didn't see much of a difference in the max quality, high quality here, but I do see a bit more vibrancy in the max quality for the 15,000. So if you're really wanting those colors to pop, I will say this 15,000 on the maximum quality, that pink is looking really good. We're looking like a really good hot pink. The blue here. Now there is a difference between the max quality blue and the high quality blue. I would say the high quality blue is a little less of a, I would say it's a little more, and I don't want to say dull, but it has less intensity. Okay, so this blue looks a lot more like that true royal kind of like you put a whole bunch of ink into it. Now on the flip side, this navy here is a little dark. It almost looks black. Okay, so you're getting a trade-off here, but still, yet and still, I don't have purple blues. Now I will say, if I had to say one is more purple than the other, I would say that the high quality is more purplish than the maximum quality. So maximum quality gets it like right on the head, and the high quality is very close, but it still doesn't look purple to me. Okay, and that's one of my main issues there. Now I'm coming down to the navy. There's a big difference there, but that navy is a really kind of hit or miss, and so is the yellow. So when the program is trying to determine yellow, if it's a pure yellow, it's an almost impossible color for the Epson printers to get the exact color gamut. So what it does is it tries to estimate, and sometimes it estimates it as like a more golden color, and sometimes it estimates it as a more pure yellow color. So in this case, we do see a difference here, and we even see that difference. It's kind of hard to tell because I have a black printer behind there. So when you have black behind it versus white behind it, it looks almost identical on the 7710, but on the 15,000, my high quality mode gave me a little more of a reddish yellow, and then my 15,000 at maximum quality gave me more of that pure yellow. So I'm going to say this one matches more to, the pure yellow matches more to the maximum quality of the 7710 as well as the high quality of the 7710. So this high quality of the EcoTank 15,000 is acceptable, but I do see some variations there for the yellow. But everything else looks very consistent. The thing that's standing out to me with the 15,000 is that blue. Okay, we'll go on here to the 16650, and if you remember, it did not have a maximum quality setting. So what we're testing is the high quality setting against the maximum quality of the 15,000, the high quality of the 15,000, and the maximum high quality of the 7710. And from what I see, it looks like the high quality of the blue is almost matching that high quality or the maximum quality of the 15,000. That's actually really good, because this blue is like, oh, it's a healthy, good, nice blue. And I'm actually going to take this 7710 and I'm going to compare it here, because that 7710 high quality is a good blue too. I just want you to see the differences there. Kind of subtle, but definitely that maximum quality on 15,000 is really like a true rich blue. That high quality is very, very close on the 16650, and then we have some, some steps away on the 15,000 high quality and the 7710 max quality. And that's why the same ink can perform differently in different printers. So this is why I'm doing this setup, because if I ever find a different setting, let's say for instance, I can really get something dialed in, like with the large format printer, I have to dial something in, because if I want to use the same exact ink for these colors, this is not going to suffice. I want to show you all. Now the blue looks amazing. The navy actually looks a lot more navy with the wide format printer than it does on any of the other medium format printers. The yellow has a little bit more of a, I guess I would say more of a little bit of a blue tint to it, so it's kind of cooling it down a little bit, rather than a warmer yellow, i.e. a redder yellow. but it's giving me way too much pink in this red up here. Everything else, the pink can kind of be a little more cleaner. It tends to have a little more of that burgundy-ish tint to it. So I would focus on these reds here and find a setting that appropriately uses the reds for this ink, because it's a little less expensive. The big bottles, the 1,000 milliliter bottles, these are going to be a little less expensive, but they work for all of the small format or the regular, 8.5 by.
Okay, sorry guys, I guess I'll go on to the last video. And this is the last video, just so y'all know. Y'all can go to bed soon.
11 inch, 14, it goes up to 8.5 by 14, most of the smaller printers. On up to these, they call them wide formats, but I call them medium formats, 13 by 19 printers. And you can also use the same ink in this particular printer, which is the 7270. I don't know about any other print heads, so you're taking a risk if you try to any other print head. It does work with these print heads. Now I have a professional version, which I'm going to compare these two, so I'll have both of these available. You can use either, with your own discretion. I have not tried the professional version in the small format printers, and I don't think I'm going to. It's more expensive, and it's probably not worth it if you're printing on these smaller printers, okay? So I'll give you that input as soon as I have it. But as far as what I'm seeing here, I'm getting very, very similarly, I can't say consistent color, because depending on which hue we're looking at, I do see some difference. Like in the blues, I see a little difference here for the EcoTank 15,000 high quality and the 7710 max quality. Those blues stand out to me. The yellow, so this EcoTank 15,000 high quality yellow is a little more orangish to me. So if you're already trying to print those golden yellows, you might want to take that into account. But if I were just straight up printing these colors just to be getting getting product out there for people who aren't very color specific, then I would go with any of these setups. However, if you know that you have a particular printer setup, you want to print one of these color charts out before you even begin, and it will help you to kind of to tweak and navigate when you do your final prints. But all of these print vibrant, all of these print nice true colors. The only difference is you're going to see a little bit of a difference when you're comparing these different printers side by side. So I did them all at 60 seconds, 400 degrees Fahrenheit on my heat press, and they all had the same exact pressure, so there were no other variables other than the fact that we use different printers. Same paper, same ink, and we even printed them at the same time. So it wasn't like one got to sit up for a whole day or two and another one was printed and pressed immediately. This is, kind of our little scientific experiment for today. So like I said, I will play with the settings for what works best for this wide format if you're going to use the non-pro ink or the standard ink. But other than that, if I take that away, I'm really impressed. I'm impressed at how this ink does on each of these machines, pretty much independently without looking at another comparison. So just on its own, I'm really impressed. The 7710 looks like it probably has the not as vibrant of the pink, and I can't say it's vibrant because it's still vibrant. It's not as red of a pink. So I am seeing that it's more of a I would say more of a purpled tone pink, but it's still a really good magenta. I will say I see these pinks here, and they really give me that that reddish pink pop color that I like to see. And my blues, they're still not purple, but they are different. The 16650 on high quality, 15,000 on max quality are giving me some, like, how do I describe, like a cobalt, like just a in your face real rich blue, and I love it. The EcoTank 15,000 at high quality mode gives me kind of like the 7710 at max quality. So if that makes any sense, these two almost exactly line up. The 7710 at max quality, the 15,000 at high quality almost look identical. Okay, So, and then the 7710 at high quality almost looks identical to the 7710 at max quality. So what I'm going to do, and hopefully I get a good snapshot from this, because I probably will forget to take a photo, knowing me. But hopefully what I can do is put the times down at the bottom of each of these, label these for you, and let you know what the time it took for these to print out, and then you can...
Yeah, so hopefully I actually do that. I think I will go ahead and put the time on each of those, because I really want you to get an idea here that literally if, and let me freeze frame it here. Can you stop for a second? Okay, so if what I was saying was true, and, well, not if, what I was saying was true, I'm telling you, because I did my bloopers in front of you and all. So if that max quality to high quality was literally cutting time in half for the 7710, I believe it went from 6 minutes for the high quality, and it took 20 minutes. We're going to say that it probably would have taken about let's just say 14 minutes, no issues. So 14 minutes, no issues for the max quality. Is it worth that extra, 6 minutes to perform that type of job versus, now of course I'm talking about when we did the 5 prints for the 8.5 by 11. Those are the times I'm remembering. With the maximum quality to the high quality for the 15,000, is it really that much of a difference to where you want to spend at least twice that time? And as far as for the high quality for the 16650, do I even want to find another setting, or am I okay with that high quality setting? I don't need anything more maximum than that if the colors that I'm trying to present, especially when my skin tones are on point, my blacks look like blacks, and my reds look like reds, and my blues don't look purple. If I'm okay with that, then literally I printed that 13 by 19 sheet in 30 seconds. Okay, so if that's what I'm going for productivity. I'm going for high quality products. So we're still printing at high quality. We aren't doing any poo-putt, draft quality prints here, which we can play with that all day too. Print on draft and just, wild card, see what happens. But we're printing on high quality setting on that 16650, 30 seconds for a 13 by 19. And that page was full of color. There's very little white on that page. I gotta say, I am very impressed with that. So as far as what I want you all to take from this or get from this, and possibly even give me some feedback about, is what's most important in this respect. I still have my pinks look pinks, my pinks look pink, my yellows look good, my blues look good. I don't have any issues with my reds just looking totally orange or pink. So I'm getting good quality color, but I'm able to cut that time down when I put it on high quality, and then also when I put it on the plain paper mode. Okay, now I'm sure I can get some different results if I put it on presentation paper or photo quality paper and put it on the highest photo quality setting. I can lay down a lot of ink. Is it necessary? Is it worth it? Okay, so that's what I want us to start thinking about. I was really wanting to get your feedback on what you think about this process, this type of experiment, what questions you may have on this process, maybe something I didn't cover that once we get done tonight, if I can possibly do something else to answer that question, let me know. Like I'm still up. I'm still blinking a little bit. So if you all need some help and have some questions, I am here to listen. Okay, Nola says she's wondering if the Eco Tank drops more ink compared to the cartridges. So I have an Excel sheet that talks about what's called the droplet size, okay? And as far as I understand, the droplet size is the same, if not extremely similar. So it's something like, I'm just making it off the top of my head right now. I think it's something like 3.3 picoliters or something like that. But it's very, very similar. It's not much different at all. As a matter of fact, it's not much different than the large format printer. So the droplet size is very very much the same. The thing that I think is different, while the colors may come out a little bit different, is literally when the printer is is mixing these inks, and it's assuming that it has the original ink that's supposed to go with that printer. I think these ink formulas are a little bit different for each printer. And I can clearly see that just by holding up the yellow of the 502 bottle versus the yellow for the 542 bottle. They're not the same type of ink. They're not the same yellows. Okay, so I'm going to chalk that up to when they produce these print heads and produce these formulas that it needed to drop whatever picoliter size droplets, that that's probably something that went into the science of it. I'm not trying to figure out their science. I'm trying to figure out our little hacker way of using sublimation ink for us to really get consistent results with what we're using. So, but that is a very good question. That is something that I looked at, and I didn't see much of a difference with the droplet size. Let's see, what other question do we have here? Have I tried the 7270 on a metal photo panel with my ink? Yes. As a matter of fact, I did a license plate. And the reason why this stuck out to me with the new ink is because I remember doing this license plate. It was an on-demand license plate. I was at a fair, and she just wanted black and white. And I could not get that thing to look black and white on that license plate for anything, because it kept giving me tints of color. So it kept giving me like a purplish tint or a reddish tint, depending on how I was trying to manipulate black and white. I literally put the file in black and white, and it printed a color of printed a tint of color, no matter what I did. So I have tried this on metal. I have a bunch of metal license plates. I actually do sell those as well. So on the metal license plate, maybe I could do a similar color chart on those metals. It's just basically you end up with having to do a color chart, and this is something I recommend to you if you really you're stickler for that color, especially if you do like sports teams and that sort of thing. Yeah, this whole experiment would need to be done all over again on a metal substrate, or if you're doing, let's say, a car flag. So the car flag has a little more light that shines through it, and it might be a bluer white than these 21Ms that obviously are a yellowish white. I don't know why 21Ms went with this yellow white. It subs beautifully, but it just yellows. So we're going to end up with a different color on that 21M versus a flag fabric versus a metal substrate. So absolutely those colors will vary, and that will be a whole nother experiment, I guess is what I'm saying. No, you're not tripping at all. The difference between the press results on the 7720 and the 16. Now, here's the difference. Here's the thing, Nola. The 16500 is different than the 16650. So I think you may be able to use Photoshop to help you color manage those settings a little bit better, and I would love to see your results. So if you let me know, contact Erica in the Innate Creatives group, Nola, because I'm sending out some more ink for the sample trials. I can send you a sample of the 7720, and as far as the 16500 though, dang, I'm not going to be able to send you ink for that one because that's an eco tank, so I won't be able to send you sample ink for that. But I can definitely send you a sample set for the 7720, and maybe you can see how that ink works on your 7720 with these precise settings and see if you're getting something that you like. And from there, go ahead and compare it to what ink you're already using in the 16500. So they're pre-filled cartridges. If you don't like it, all you do is pop the cartridges out and go back to your regularly scheduled ink. But yeah, we spent a lot of time pre-filling these cartridges for you all, so that we have 30 cartridges or 30 cartridge sets that we're sending out. So contact Erica if you're interested. Tell her that I said in the live video that I was going to send you some free ink, okay? And then that way you can try it out and compare it. And we're going to do a live session where it's going to be a class, basically. It's going to be a free class where we all chime in. We're going to set up the same settings. We're going to print some probably these same color charts, as well as printing a black and white image and a flesh tone image. So I'm really serious about these flesh tones. I cannot stand these really weird looking images in flesh tones. So I also have a flesh tone file, and we're going to print all 3 of those and press them on fabric. So you will have to use your sample fabric to press them on, and your sublimation paper, but I'll be sending you free ink. And I would like for you all to try these inks out. Let me know what you really think. I'm truly a scientist and an engineer at heart, as well as an artist. So I want to know if these things are really performing like you want them to perform, and what I can do better if they're not. Okay? So no, you aren't tripping, but we're going to hopefully get to a better solution together. All right, love. So we've been here for a couple of hours now. I know y'all love me, but you probably don't love me that much. You're probably ready to get some rest. So stick around for any more questions you might have, and then I have a good idea of how to edit this video based on your questions and responses. Okay, Doug says, how do I like the 7270? And you're looking at the, okay, so if I could really have my way, I would do the F6370 because it's already set up, ready to go. However, the type of person that I am, I don't care to do a lot of large format printing. What I care about is developing products that help business to business, so that help you all grow in business. So my objective for getting the 7270 printer and developing the ink to go with it is so that it's an easier entry market. Okay, so the 7270 you can purchase for about $4,000 brand new, right? And then you convert it over to sublimation. So the cartridges and ink is gonna probably run you somewhere around, I'm just throwing it out there, I don't have my figures right in front of me right now, but somewhere around $500-600. So for under $5,000, you have a ready to go sublimation system with plenty of ink, with the refillable cartridges. So keep in mind with this the 7370, you're not going to get refillable cartridges, and you're going to have to use Epson products. But at that level, it's not a bad solution, because you're going to have that reliability of that Epson promise and that Epson product. Okay, so when they say an ink color is going to be an ink color, it's pretty much manufactured for that system. But I'm really trying to help people get into a market where these same cartridges for the 7270 also work for the 5270, also work for the for the 3270. So if you want to get a 24-inch printer versus these same inks will work for the 24-inch version of this, will work for the 36 version of this, which is probably more of your entry level. I decided to get 7270 because I figured I want 44 inches versus 36 inches. But this ink will work for all of that line. And I just feel like this is the next step up. A lot of people are wanting to do wide format and kind of venture into that step. And this is kind of my way of answering something mid-range for that, if that makes sense. Okay. Hey Rona, thank you, love. Thank you. I'm glad you felt it was informative. This is good to know, you know, what you all feel about this type of content. It's a lot of work, but I feel like if these are questions I see you all, you know, need answers to and struggle with sometimes with, you know, well, you're looking at what somebody else is doing, you're trying to compare it to what you're doing, and I just wanted a way to streamline it and say, hey, if we all got together and did the same ink on all these different printers, these will be these varying results. So hopefully that that sticks out to you and helps you make decisions for what your next move is going to be. You're welcome, Doug. And you all have information too. Like, y'all be sitting on some information. So a lot of the ideas that I get for trying things out is because you all have found a solution, or you all have, you know, said, hey, I had this problem, this is how I fixed it. So I would like for, you know, you all to let me know if anything that I said doesn't gel well with you. Let me know, and, you know, I'll test it out myself. Okay. I am not beyond thinking that I know everything, because Lord knows I didn't know how to set up that 15,000 a day, and I almost set myself up. All right, so any more questions, loves? Oh, Nola, good. Okay, so Nola's going to print with a plain paper setting, high quality for both printers, and let Photoshop manage the colors. And please let me know how that turns out. As a matter of fact, post it in the Innate Creatives group. I'd love to see it. Here's the deal, though. So since we are officially having our own ink now, we can't say in the group whose ink you're using if it's not the True Colors ink. And I did a survey where I asked you all to tell me your ink. So this is just new because now we have released the ink. But you can just say it's some other ink other than True Colors. But I still want to know what your results are, because even using the same ink with those settings, I would like to see what you come up with. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing for our test group. So the test group is going to say, hey, and we're not going to mention with the test group, we're not going to mention the other ink that we use, because I don't want to feel like superior or anything to anyone else's ink. I've been very respectful of everyone else's hustle, and not just their hustle, these are their babies. So I don't want to say, oh, well, my ink does way better than XYZ over here off of Amazon, or XYZ's group ink. That's not my objective. My objective is to dial in how I can help you use any product that you have better, but I can show you exactly how to use the product that I use. Okay, so I just want to make sure that I put that out there, that it's no issues or hostility with using other ink. I don't expect everybody in the Innate Creatives group to magically jump over to the True Colors, but I do hope that the integrity that I have behind the content that I'm giving you and the true help that I'm providing for you all helps you all to want to support the ink and want to support the brand. Okay. All right. Any more questions? We're now at 11:34 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I'm probably going to check out in just a few more minutes, but I'll take any last questions if y'all have any. And thank you all. Thank you. I am so grateful for you all sitting through here. I think we have 16 people right now, but I know it's late, and I appreciate you all for sticking through me with this topic, because you're able to help me understand what you all want to understand. I appreciate that, Nola. I really do. All right, love. So we're going to go ahead and close this one out for the evening. Like I said, I appreciate you all. I love y'all for real. And hopefully I get this video edited sometime in the near 24 to 48 hour-ish future. And I will have the video loaded up tomorrow that shows you how to refill the cartridges using the needle method if you're not using the eco tanks. And I will also do a video of how to do the printhead cleanings with the printhead cleaning solution. Okay. All right. Okay, my love. So we're good for tonight, and I'll talk to you all later. And as you all know, bye.